can you start by telling us a little bit about what as a storyteller most resonated with you about this particular work that you brought to TIFF?
You know, for me, what was the most striking thing about the movie is probably that you witness two people who feel what is right in their hearts and who follow that. No matter, they don't compromise what they think is right, even if it brings the worst consequences. And that I thought was so strong, and I felt that this was, is sort of important.
You talk about working with August because obviously your scenes, they're so beautiful, but it's wonderful to have a great partner like him for them.
It is. It's been quite extraordinary because he was the last one to come. I was already cast, and so we were looking for the husband, and he was the last one to come in. And it was really, from the first read on, everyone in the room knew it's going to be him. So there was just a certain chemistry that was just there. And that made it really sort of easy to go through this experience as a couple because it all felt quite natural. Yeah.
Of course, you're working with one of the great masters behind the camera. Can you talk a little bit about the qualities that Terrence has that makes him such a unique storyteller?
Yeah. I think what it really, as in the work as an actress, what he really gives you is a lot of freedom. So you can even contribute yourself. He encourages you to improvise. He encourages you to come up with ideas. I would suggest things that we haven't shot yet because I felt that would be important for the characters. So a lot of scenes that you see in the movie were just actually things that we came up with. And so I think this is what makes it very special because you as an artist, actress, can contribute to the whole thing, and that is what I feel is the most special thing about him.
Can you talk a little bit about your preparation for this role in terms of what you read and what I guess surprised or affected you the most on that process for you?
Yeah. The first thing that Terry sent me were the letters. So he sent me the original letters. And that was already, I had to cry just reading the letters. And I think they were the most important thing for me because there you could see how they lived, how their love was, what how their everyday life was, but also about their faith and about how much they felt it was important to follow what is right. So I think it was the letters. And then, of course, I also, did some farm work. I learned how to use a scythe and how to milk a cow and churn butter and stuff like that. And that was also crucial because I wanted her to feel very natural in this surroundings on a farm and stuff.
And I'm curious, just in a general, more profound sense, why do you think this dark period of our human history often seems to also give us some of our most beautiful and uplifting moments of human endeavor?
I think it is because people are so challenged in those very dark moments. I think the Jägerstätters, the couple, if they wouldn't have been confronted with that situation, they probably would have never be elevated to this very strong position, And I think dark moments really ask for you to be strong, and that's what they make you strong, actually.
It's a beautiful moment to have you here with us at TIFF. What does it mean for you to be part of this celebration of cinema?
It's amazing. I have to say, being, especially because I love the movie so much, I love the project so much. It's so wonderful to finally show it and to get reactions. This has been the most, that's been the most wonderful experience so far for this film, to see how people react and what they think about it.
Curious, when audiences do get a chance to see the film here at TIFF and beyond, what are you most hoping they take away from this piece of work, not just those who are familiar with this history, but those who are perhaps discovering it for the first time?
I feel like for me, it would be great that that you've experienced this sense of you really have to be sort of find that stillness and quietness inside of yourself to really feel what you think is right, because I feel like it's a quite important moment right now to feel that and to be connected with that and to really stand up to what you think is right and not compromise yourself. So I would think this would be the most important thing. Yeah.
And I think you mentioned before, obviously, a number of scenes in the film were improvised, and that. When you look back at your time on set, is there one memory that is the most precious to you of that experience, that makes you smile the most or you're most satisfied with as a performer?
I would say it is the scene in the prison when they meet again. because the whole shoot sort of built up to that. That was actually the only scene that we knew we would only be doing one time. And so it was sort of weird because it sort of naturally built up to it, because we were doing the farm scenes before, then August was a lot in prison, and then we sort of met again, and I don't know what it was, but we only shot it like once, you know, in each direction, just one shot, and it was just this very weird sort of, you know, like in the room you could just feel like, you know, if there was like it was kind of magical. So I think that was the most important scene, moment.
Can you start, for people who aren't familiar with this extraordinary couple and their experience, by giving us just a quick synopsis of this film and what as a storyteller most connected, most resonated with you about their journey?
I think it's the simplicity and the silence of resistance of two people who were very, very close to each other and got challenged in their love and in their life and have to sacrifice a lot for staying to a point where they feel which is wrong to do. And I think the simplicity in this whole thing is the power also of our story.
And why do you think this very dark chapter of human history also seems to have given us so many uplifting and important stories?
Because it's kind of relevant today in our days, because it's all coming back. Europe is overswammed with right-wing parties again, and we're coming again to a point where we have to really think about what we think, what is right and what is wrong. And I think all this can be born out of a silent place, out of a hidden life, and not by being surrounded by so many information, so many people. We're all living in a world which is getting louder and louder, I have the feeling. And our way of communicating is getting more and more similar, so we got more and more similar to each other. The planet's getting smaller and smaller. I have this feeling very much in my personal life. And this kind of sitting down and feeling in the inner thing of what is right and what is wrong, this is something that is lacking in our world more and more. And I think therefore this movie has such an importance for our days.
Obviously, you are also working with a master storyteller behind the camera. Can you talk a bit about the unique qualities that Terrence has as a director?
He makes movies in a very unique way. He's opening himself very much to the actors, to everyone who's working with him. Everyone is invited to his process. He's not somebody who says it should be like this and that and that, although he knows very, very much what he wants. He's inviting us, you know, he would always say to us, we're a band, we're making this together. And now many things also in this movie that are actually coming from us and from many other people. It was a very close work also with the DOP, with Jurgen. So that was a very small group of people who were very connected in this period of time shooting.
Talking about your beautiful co-star, can you talk a little bit about your experience working with Valerie? And you talked about those moments of improvisation. If there's one moment of that is the most precious to you, a memory from set with Valerie.
I remember that actually through Valerie I got very much my character. I think that's also a very important thing for an actor, to be open to the partner, and Valerie is somebody who you can completely be open to. She's a brilliant actress, and we got very well connected from the start. I think it's also one of the reasons why I got the part, because she had it already, and we were trying many things. There were days where we were close, there were days where we were doubting, there were days where we were apart from each other. We were doing a lot of farm work together. That's also like something that bounds you together. And I think we were for each other a big help in the whole shooting process, yeah.
It's lovely to have you with us in Toronto. What does it mean for you to be a part of this beautiful celebration of cinema?
Well, I think I can tell that Toronto is a very cineastic town, and it's so beautiful to be in this festival and be invited in this movie, with this movie also, because it's so accessible for everyone. There's so many young people. We are so excited to show it today here in Toronto. And I've been several times in Toronto because I have also good friends here, but I've never been to the TIFF, and it's a very special festival. I'm very honored to be here, really.
When audiences see the film here at TIFF and beyond, what are you most hoping overall they take away from the film, both those familiar with this history and those perhaps discovering it for the first time?
Well, I can only tell this from my part. When I first saw the movie, I went silent. I really didn't want to talk to anybody for a few hours. I sat down in a coffee, I was thinking. It moves me a lot, and I hope that everybody who sees this movie feels the same. It's a very unique movie. It's not a loud movie. It's like being in nature. I felt like after a long hike in the mountains.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!